Good morning. Mr. Rookie, Samino. Harry, what time do you even sleep? What time? It's gotta be like 3 or 4 in the morning where you are. Hope you don't have to make more edits. I'll tell you this, there's a team that I know is banned that we haven't even contacted yet because we can't. So yeah, you might have to make some edits. It's frustrating. Look, Nito, I am an insider. I know everything, and I still have to like constantly rewrite my top 10. My top 10 I printed it out, but I have to like scribble out and rewrite a lot of this stuff just because a lot of things are constantly changing. There's a team that is pending that if they get a 4th member signed up in the next 10 minutes, I am including them in my top 10. But they still need to get their 4th player to accept the invite, I guess, and they have less than 10 minutes to do that. So that's another thing I'm keeping an eye on right now. There are 14 teams pending, but a lot of them have been pending for a long time, so I don't think there's just one in particular I'm keeping an eye on. What's up, Brush? Dano, reigning low ink champion. Dano, no. Said I didn't pronounce your made-up word correctly last time. What's up, Ivy? Just make sure your prep matches mine. Well, that's the thing. When you do the second commentary block on Sunday is that you have that whole hour and a half to do the prep as you start to figure out, okay, these are the teams that are going to be making winners and whatnot. You start to easily develop what the storylines are going to be that you're going to be talking about. You got one prepped anyways. Good. I mean, if you're just doing a top 5, the top 5 is pretty simple, to be honest with you. The top 5 is pretty much a given. The number 1 should be pretty obvious to everybody. Where you rank 2 through 5, I guess, is somewhere around there, but the top 5 of like pre-tournament low ink is pretty simple. Or maybe it's not. Maybe it's just the top 4. Yeah, maybe just the top 4 or the top 3 might be kind of obvious. What's up, Pig Attack? This is the one BLT finally wins. If your doggone players would quit signing up for the low ink, maybe. BLT keeps trying to win low inks. It's not just texture. It's not just texture. We caught somebody else, but they ended up dropping before we could tell them to get out. That's not. I wasn't referring to texture. BLT keeps sending people. Who else? There's some other. There's some other team today that kept sending people, and we're like, bruh, come on. Come on. Silly goose. There's gonna be somebody in help desk at 8 o'clock. My team's still pending. Can I still play? Jub. By the way, I just wanted to point out, just kind of throwing this out there. The Ink Lawyers is not a real thing. You guys can't sue us if we ban you from Low Ink. Can't be touching us like that. You can't sue us for compensation if we force your team name to be changed to something else. The Ink Lawyers. You haven't seen that one, Mr. Ricky? Wait, hold on. I'll post a link in chat. It's another Wiggly Phantoms banger. There. This is required reading for the Popcast today. You may just dropped. You may dropped. Oh wait, Nito did release the, I'll put this in chat as well. This is Nito's, Low Ink preview. Let me just breeze through this real quick. Yeah, I'll go back and read this all the way through later. Rush! Hello, Herbert. Good to see you. Is this basically CIA? Like, did all 4 of those players play on CIA that I'm seeing on your roster? Karma was not a CIA player. Okay. I thought she was. Or they were. At one point. I wouldn't be surprised if Karma played at one point, maybe just not on the official roster. Yeah, there you go. Give who a segment? Oh, the Wiggly? Yeah, I gave the Wigglies a full segment. What are you talking about? I 100% did give the Wiggly Phantoms a segment when they disbanded. That was like not memorable enough. I know that was the that was when I said we're replacing Wiggly Phantoms with Blue Moon. Hello, Code. Yeah, Wiggly Phantoms got their own segment. Get out of here. You know, I show love to greatness only. Wiggly Phantoms and FT Win are in the same category, alright? Everyone knows that. Alright, it's 8 o'clock. We're not starting right yet. We're going to make sure registration got closed. One last team got in. The Popsicles. And it has 2 people named Toasty on it. One Toasty with a star, one without. And we are officially closed. And the team I had the eye on for my top 10 didn't make it in time. Wow. RIP. Sucks to suck. Well. Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Popcast. Whenever you're listening to this, whether it be live or a VOD, Twitch or YouTube, or Spotify, while you're sharing screenshots of me telling you in DMs that you are banned onto Twitter, trying to get into the Splat 3 test fire fest early, having yet another conversation on why branding in the competitive Splatoon community is important. Whatever it is that you're doing right now, appreciate you taking the time out of your day to listen to this. Unless I don't. Yeah, I would love to do yet again another segment giving my thoughts on this additional conversation we're having on Twitter about branding and the importance of branding and not having silly names in tournaments. But we have bigger fish to fry today, and I can't be talking about this every single month. I will say this, though. I did commentate SOS this week, just as a little bit of a warm-up for Low-Ink, this upcoming Low-Ink. I haven't commentated since Super Jump 2. And as a commentator, your job is to convey to the audience what the story of the set is. It's not to sit there and be like, oh, here's these 2 teams, and I'm really interested to see what these teams are going to do, and, oh, nice win for that team. No, your job is to explain to the audience why they should care about what they're watching. It's really hard for me to do that when I don't even know what I'm watching. I'm doing grand finals of SOS, and one of the teams is called Tabby Slime, and one of the players on the team is called Tabby Slime, and the other one is Japanese text that doesn't match anybody that's on the roster, and nobody on Tabby Slime had the IGN of Tabby Slime on the roster as well. So I don't even know who half the players are on this team. Not that, like, I don't know who they like what their story. No, I literally don't know who they are or who they're supposed to be. So I've been on the record before saying that I don't really care if people in open invite tournaments change their IGNs. Obviously, we force you guys to have it in low ink for verification purposes, but I'm starting to think we need to have like universal rules across every single tournament that says you need to go by what your name is, and your name has to match what's on the roster. Because I mean, like it's getting pretty stupid at this point. When I can't commentate. I can commentate it, but I can't tell somebody who's just watching the tournament for the first time why they should care about what they're seeing, because I don't even know what I'm seeing at this point. Regardless, if you are here and you're wanting to play low ink, tough cookies, as my dad used to say, the registration is closed. You cannot sign up. I'm just going to double check and see if I can sign up right now. And it looks like, no, I cannot. So we're stuck at 82 teams. Probably going to be less. Who dropped? It was 83. Who just dropped? Oh, I bet I know. I bet I know if JPEG. Yep. Okay, I know. There's a team that we feel like signed up just as a meme, and they kept signing up after we kicked them, so we waited until registration closed to kick them so they can't sign up yet again. So that issue got solved. There we go. Sub applications are closed as well, and Vincent acknowledged that. Okay, so we got everybody in the sub application verified as well. We had a lot of people put in sub applications this month. That's awesome. I feel like, let's see, I'm not going to count them. It's way more. It's about 20 plus people putting in sub applications, which is good. So if you need a team, if you need a player added to your roster between now and during the tournament to the end of Sunday, you have plenty of people to choose from. Don't just drop from the tournament. Try to find a sub first, because there's a lot of people that are available to be subbed and are verified already. So make sure you do that. But no, you can't add people to your roster other than just verified subs at this point. You can't sign up. It's closed. The tournament is closed. You're stuck with what you got. Today, we are going to be previewing Low Ink. We're going to be talking about a good chunk of the teams that are going to be playing in this tournament. Some in a serious fashion, some in a silly kind of fashion, but we're going to be mentioning a lot of teams to some extent, including my top 10, which would have changed in the past couple of minutes, but a certain team didn't sign up ahead of time, so we're sticking with the top 10 that I had as of like 30 minutes ago, because more people were dropping in and out. So I'm going to be telling you who's going to win this tournament, because I feel pretty confident in my number one. And I don't normally feel confident in my number one, and usually when I do, I'm always wrong anyways. But you might want to stick around for that to find out who's going to win the tournament. Then you don't have to watch it this weekend. Save yourself some time. Go fishing with your kids. Because I know some of you in chat are old enough to have multiple kids at this point, but I doubt anybody does. I think Sigurd's the only actual parent in the competitive scene. But first, I wonder how many people were nervous going into this week, wondering if they were going to get banned or not. Because that was the conversation I've seen a lot of people have on Twitter and in private-ish Discord servers was, I don't know who's going to get banned or not. And as I started DMing people yesterday, rumors were spreading around. Oh no, who's going to get banned? Is it going to be me? Am I getting banned next? I don't know who all is banned from the tournament. It's just been that interesting kind of month, or the past 2 months, where we had an entire SAC season, Super Jump, several SOS tournaments, several paddling pools happen in between now this upcoming weekend and the last Low Ink. There's been a lot of tournaments, and there's been a lot of Low Ink teams that have kind of flexed. There was that tweet. It seems like there's this weekly hate boner going on for Cherry Limeade for some reason. And I remember somebody tweeting out a part of that conversation, something like, alpha bracket teams are not as strong as they used to be. Oh boy, that didn't go over very well, because alpha bracket teams have been destroying low ink band teams this week. We got several teams in this that we did not ban, and of course several teams that we did ban, that have significant quality wins against teams that are banned from low ink. Am I saying teams in mid-level? No. Here's the secret for you guys. Mid-level doesn't exist. It's a fugazi. It's not real. Mid-level is a social construct created to distract you guys from the truth. There's only 2 categories you can fit into in this community. You're either eligible for low ink or you're banned from it. That's it. Everything else is just opinion. But you're either eligible or banned from low ink. Those are facts. We deal in facts here on the podcast, unless we don't. So I want to kind of give you guys a look behind the curtain to some extent. I'm not going to just show screenshots of the staff channel or give any direct, here's why this team got banned and this team didn't get banned. But I'm going to give you guys a little bit of clarity, or a little bit of a look, transparency, I guess you could say, as to how we got to the teams that are here, the teams that are going to be gone at the end of this week, and the teams that we didn't even give a chance. So when you sign up for low ink, or if you come into help desk and you're always like, am I banned from low ink? Our response is always sign up. The reason for that is we don't know. I can't look at anything. If you just say in battle or the low ink help desk, am I banned from low ink? I have no idea. I can't look into anything that you have just off of that. But when you sign up on Battlefy, then we can get all your information. It's real easy. We just have a bot, and we can just look through every tournament that you play in and every team that you've played for, at least as Battlefy is concerned. Where I believe there's something in the works to try to make it to where we can get information from like everything, so it's a lot easier, because you guys do play in a lot of things outside of Battlefy, and we really need, as a community, need to stop using Challenge. They're so easy for information to get lost on Challenge. We need to stop using that sucker. But as far as Battlefy is concerned, we can start getting information off of your tournament results just by looking at what you did as soon as you start signing up for Battlefy. So that's why we always tell you guys to sign up for Battlefy. It's a lot easier for us to find information like that. Now, here's the question. Hey, Smash. Good to see you. It is, where did you draw the line this month? And that was something I've been saying pretty consistently on this podcast leading up to this low ink, is you can't just go off of this Div 5 and below kind of thing anymore. Yes, that's the line in the sand rule, but we all know divs are pointless. You can't just say, oh, I'm going to make a new tournament that's Div 8 and below, because Div 8 came out 10 months ago, and that makes absolutely no sense to use divs. So we had to figure out where the cap for our tournament even is right now. So, but we also kept in mind that it's not just figuring that out, but also when Splatoon 3 comes out next month, we want to be able to start over in a sense, or maybe not start over, but we want to be able to get this tournament to be something a little bit more friendly to what we hope to be a massive wave of new players coming into the competitive scene. Obviously, we want people to go to Little Squid League, but we want them to come to us as well, and we want to fill up low ink and get a ton of teams as we can in the coming months with that. So we understood that we needed to start pushing people out the door to some extent. So we had these, as we looked at the teams that signed up, we were able to put the alpha teams into 3 categories. There was the group of teams that were too good for low ink, regardless of what the cap was. There were teams that popped off a little too much, and that seems like I'm saying it in a negative way. It's not. There's teams that just flexed and proved, like, okay, whatever the cap for low ink is, you're above it. So there were some teams that we just straight up said, get out, you're gone, you're too good. And those teams are already flexing in whatever the hell mid-level is and are going to be just fine. But there was this other category of teams, of about 5 teams, where it was like, what do we do with these guys? Because they all have quality wins against teams that are banned from low ink, but they don't have as many quality wins as these other teams that were low ink eligible before that we just gave the boot to. But at the same time, we can't just let them sit around in low ink with these kind of results, right? Like we can't just let teams camp out in alpha bracket. Not everybody's going to get a chance to win it, or I should say not everyone's going to get multiple chances to win it. So with that category of teams, what we decided on was, let's just give them the old, oh, you got Div 4 treatment, right? Because whenever there's a new Ludi season, we have this thing called a Mom Spaghetti tournament. You only get one last chance. You are now officially on that borderline and on the backside of the borderline, and we're only going to give you one more opportunity to win this tournament. And either if you do or don't, you're getting a band certificate at the end of it. And we told those teams, we didn't want to just like make that a hidden thing. We told them straight up. I DM'd them yesterday. Hey, this is it. This is your final chance to get something going. This is your Mom Spaghetti tournament. And if you don't win it, you're done. So that's what we did with some teams. But it's not just teams that we're verifying. There's a lot of pickups that play in this tournament and a lot of individual players that have gone off and played in other pickups or have subbed for other teams. What do you do with those players? And that's where this gets really tricky, because this is a team sport, but we've individualized it so much to where you got to start verifying individual players. And some teams are here, but we had to ban, like, hey, this one player that you have on this team, they got to go. Or one team, they had 6 players, and we banned 4 of the 6 that was on there. I was like, here's the list of players. It would be easier to tell you what players on this team we are going to allow to play. And I don't think that team found replacements. I think they all just dropped altogether. But, I mean, yeah, it's just with these pickups, it's hard. And it's hard to determine, like, individual players. Because there are instances where somebody is on a roster for a team and we look and we see, oh, here's the results for this one player or this one team that has this one low ink player on the roster. You got to give that results to the player that's on the roster, because I have no idea if that player actually played or not. The only way to tell if that player did is to go through and look at the VOD of every single match that they played in that tournament. And A, those things don't exist. And if they do, am I really going to sit down and watch the VOD of some tournament set just to see if a player makes an appearance at any point or not? No, of course not. So, and of course you got the people who will say, well, I just got carried. I played in that pickup and we beat this team or that team, but I got carried in the process. And it's like, What do you want me to do? Acknowledge that you got carried? I can't do that. You gotta wear the results that you get. If somebody carries you to those results consistently, just be happy that you're able to play with somebody who can do that for you. You can't cherry pick, oh, I trust this person when they say that they didn't play in this tournament, or, oh yeah, I actually have played with this person before and I know they're not as good as the other 3 players they were playing with. You can't do that, because then you're letting bias creep into your verification. And the one thing I constantly say here is that we strive for with verification with low ink is to be fair and consistent. And it's really, really hard to be consistent. To take one team's resume and say, okay, this team we are letting in, but this other team that has a resume kind of close to them were not. And where do you make the distinction of this is the line and this is when you're too far over and too far under it? It's really hard to be consistent. And there's probably been some times where it's like, we banned this one team or this player for this certain situation, but maybe 6 months later, that same kind of situation happened and we didn't ban the team for it. And it's difficult. But I feel like we've come to a good conclusion. I like the teams that we got in here. I feel like everybody's justified to be in here. I feel like the teams that we told you're out are going to be just fine when they get out next month. And there's some things we have coming down the pipe for future lowings as well that we want to use to help kind of guide more alpha teams out of alpha instead of just letting people just kind of camp out. Are there people that dodge low level or dodge open invite tournaments so they can stay eligible for lowing? Yes, there are. I'm not sitting here naming names, and I don't know for 100% for sure, but you can just tell looking at some of these teams that's like, okay, you're not doing anything to get yourself banned from low ink. And we need to do something. I've always had this mindset that we can't do anything to stop that, but we're starting to come up with some ways to do that. And it's twofold. First off, this mindset of being banned from low ink is a bad thing. Yeah, I can understand that. And we've talked about that a lot on the podcast as well. But with the resurgence of SAC, I'm starting to feel a little bit better about teams that get banned from low ink. But just that's not a low ink problem, is it? Like, being banned from low ink and not having much to do isn't a low ink problem. The thing is, low ink is the best tournament in the scene. That's not up for debate. It is the best tournament in the scene. We're going to have more viewers this weekend than every other tournament that played this week is going to have combined. That's a fact. It's not something that can be debated. The problem is those other tournaments aren't rising up to the level of what low ink is right now. Nobody wants to be banned from low ink because there's nothing that's just as exciting as low ink. SAC's getting there because it has the IPL's production behind it and our staff behind it and our leadership behind it. But everything else is kind of struggling to catch up to the quality of a tournament that low ink is. And I think that's kind of the main reason why people don't want to be banned from it. It's because we are so good that everybody else isn't catching up. And it doesn't mean that low ink needs to lower our standards. We need to make our tournament worse so that, people want to leave. No. Everybody needs to get up to the level that we're at. That's straight up calling it like it is. But the teams that are banned this month and the teams that are going to be banned at the end of this month, here's what you got to realize. It seems scary. It's like graduating from high school and you're going off, but you're not leaving by yourself. You're taking all your friends with you. We're kicking out teams in groups, in sets. It's not just one team getting banned. It's that team and like every rival that team has had that's going out the door with them. Destiny Troops played Xanadu in low ink, Ash Cup, up to SAC, up to Aquatic Cup, and then they disbanded, and I've never had fun playing this game since because losing a rival sucks. But you guys grow with each other. You guys are all, it's just a different setting. You're not playing that team that you've always played in low ink. You're playing that same team, but you're going to be playing them in SAC. You'll be playing them in SOS. You're going to be growing together. And it's all these teams that we're feeding into mid-level is just going to make mid-level better. It's just something when you have nothing to do but play against those other teams you've constantly been playing against, and then you have to be playing against teams that are slightly above you. That's going to force you to get better. It's going to force the whole scene to get better. And if people disband or drop from the scene because they're banned from low ink, well, guess what? There's a new video game coming out. You're not going to want to play that. You're going to be fine. Getting banned from low ink is not that bad of a thing. It's just like getting banned from high school. Just go off to college. And Ty Uster made a good tweet I saw yesterday about how they didn't recognize anybody. After this month, they're not going to be able to recognize anybody in Alpha Bracket. When Heaven Moonlight was there, pretty much everybody that played around the Heaven Moonlight era is gone, and they're not going to recognize anyone. Yes, that is true. Counter argument. For those of you, I guess all of you in chat, we got a lot of age ranges here, but all of you are probably been graduated from elementary school. I hope. If not, get out of here. I don't want to talk to you. But I hope all of you are gone from elementary school. If you were to go back to whatever elementary school you graduated from, you're not going to recognize anybody there. It's a different generation from you. Of course, you're not going to recognize them. But that doesn't mean that it's not important for that group of people, right? The next group of people that come in, that come into the alpha brackets. And we're going to list off, there's a lot of teams that are ready to step up and fill that void that's going to be left when the alpha bracket teams get the boot. But it doesn't mean the quality drops off. It just means more people are going to be watching Low Ink. You look at the chat in grand finals of Low Ink, it's filled to the brim with people that are banned, people that come back, Low Ink alumni, High Ink alumni. People always come back to Low Ink, and you might not recognize the players because you're not playing against them anymore, but you learn what the storylines are, you get invested in it, and that's why you're suckered into coming back and watching it time and time again. Other tournaments need to build up storylines like that. Now, for the teams that are getting banned at the end of this month, they get one last chance. You would think, okay, these are the teams that are going to win the tournament. And they're the teams that I got at the higher end of my top 10 coming up here. But when you are playing in a Mom Spaghetti tournament, we have seen traditionally in the past that those teams play horribly, at least for their standards. They always fall short. Whenever we've had a Mom Spaghetti tournament, the team that ends up winning it is a team you did not expect to win at all. It's because when you know it's the last one, every loss feels like 50 losses. Oh, we lost one game. We lose one more. We're going down to losers bracket. Oh no, we're in losers bracket. And these teams just get eaten up and they get stressed out and are probably going to bed tonight a little bit nervous, knowing that if they lose twice in the Swiss round, they might not even make alpha bracket, and they're going to go out of their final Low Ink getting banned in beta bracket. It gets to you. It's pretty nerve-wracking. The last time we had a Mom Spaghetti Low Ink was when it was November when the new Ludi divs came out. We gave the Div 4 teams one last chance. BLT, ITAP, Wipeout Punks. I want to say Geek Squids was a part of that class. Some other teams were up there as well. But who won? Of all those monster teams, who won the November Low Ink of last year? It was Guerrilla Tactics. And I will give, if you can list off two people, Triton, DRF, shut up. But if anybody else other than that, if you can list off two people on Guerrilla Tactics who played on that team, without actually looking it up, I can't give you anything, but I'll give you a virtual pat on the head. How about that? Guerrilla Tactics. Thank you. Yes, okay, maybe more of you pay attention than I was aware. No, Kraken Mare did not. Kraken Mare was banned from Low Ink for two. Kraken Mare's been banned from Low Ink since literally Low Ink was invented. So no, not even close. But it's the same group of people that all play together now. But yeah, Guerrilla Tactics won. Why? Because everybody else that was supposed to win crapped out. Stressed out. They got eliminated like losers round 2. They barely did anything. So that's what's going to be going on this weekend. And it's stressful to play in. But for those of us that are just going to be watching the stream and commentating, it's awesome. It's exciting. I love competitive stuff when there's something on the line. And for a lot of teams, there's going to be something on the line. And more importantly, we can get these guys out of the tournament. So when Splatoon 3 rolls around and we want to get into this more mindset of creating a more welcoming environment for where people can get into low ink playing their first tournament ever in Splatoon 3 and they don't get absolutely curb stomped by inked killers in Essence and get scared off when New Horizons is destroying them with double roller. Like, that's a little bit more. Now, they're still going to get destroyed for sure, because there's still some alpha teams we're going to be letting in. They don't have enough quality results just yet, and we'll eventually kick them out later. But this is the mindset we're going for. How do we be fair to the teams we already got that have been loyal to low ink all the way up to the end of Splatoon 2? And how do we start in creating this environment to where Splatoon 3 we can hit the ground running and be the tournament that everyone signing up for it the first time sees this is, which is the entry point to competitive Splatoon. And I feel like we've come to a happy medium. We've been fair, we've been consistent, and it wasn't easy to get to this point. And is somebody probably talking about being banned to their 2 private Twitter account followers? Yeah. Do you think anybody cares on the IPL side? No. No, because we feel like we're consistent, we got it right. People are always going to disagree, but life goes on. Unless it doesn't. So that's how we got to that point. Some highlighted messages I think I saw, or one highlighted message. Mr. Rookie, apparently Challenge changed the search function to showing old Splatoon 2 events first, then the newest. I don't know why it's like that. Well, my main issue with Challenge is that you don't know what the roster is. If I want to see who played in Paddling Pool, I have to search through the Discord and see if the team that checked in even bothered to put who played there. And they don't put the subs. If they go get a sub, you're not going to know that they played in that. So it's, yeah, Challenge is just bad. I mean, it's good if you want to do pen and paper stuff. Did y'all ban Yimi Star? Because I would have liked to see them play this month. I'm not going to answer specifically like this team got banned or that team got this or whatever. But so I guess I'm not going to answer that, I guess. But you can ask that team directly the answer to that question. I will say this. They did sign up and they did drop on their own. We did not do that, I guess is a safe way to answer that one. Yimi Star. The good old Yimi Star. But before we get into the top 10, there's some other teams I want to talk about. Starting with the teams that are going to be the next class of Alpha Bracket Blue Bloods coming up. Starting with Intimidation Factor. And I've been waiting for a while for them to make the next step up in the Alpha Bracket. They popped off in a little squid league. We're making beta brackets consistently. I feel like they made an Alpha Bracket at some point. But they haven't really made that next step up to being elite like we have seen low Squid League champions do as of late. But now I feel like their roster is starting to get a little bit more set. I feel like they've had a little bit of roster changeover, but now that they got things a little bit more consistent and they can start playing together more, Intimidation Factor should be taking that step up, if not this month, in months to come. Ink in the System seems to have turned the corner as well. Ink in the System, I don't think I've ever talked about them in a way that was like, oh, I'm really impressed with Ink in the System. It's just more their name. But they popped off in the most recent SOS, didn't they? SOS number 79, as I do some last-minute verification because I didn't pay attention here. Yeah, they played in Mako Bracket and beat Duck and Cover 3-1 and took Infinity Rain to a game 5 as well in the Mako bracket. So Ink in the System could be a part of that next Alpha Bracket class that's going to be coming up at some point as well. Neon Palm Tree, a consistent beta bracket team. Another team we should all be keeping an eye on. They're playing pretty consistently here. Lydian keeps taking steps in the right direction. I keep talking about Lydian all the time because it's like, man, their roster seems like it's just Alpha Bracket. It's basically Power Inc. with some new players. But now now that they're starting to play more consistently, I think they went like 2-4 the first low week they played in. Now they're making beta bracket. Lydian's going to be one of those name brand alpha bracket teams coming up in the future. J. Crouton. They are not signed up this month. J. Crouton is not playing, but I was really hoping they would sign up because they made top 5 in the last low ink. But that was like, okay, did they do that because some of the monsters weren't there and they slipped through? No, I think they're just good. They were just disbanded. All right, well, fair enough. J. Crouton will not be one of the alpha bracket teams in the future, but the players will probably keep an eye on unless some of those players got banned because they did some pickup stuff. Surf and Turf. They've been making alpha brackets pretty consistently, but they haven't done any damage in alpha bracket just yet. But they've been knocking on that door for a while. And Surf and Turf, it's been a really slow burn for them. They're a candle that was lit like 3 years ago, and they're starting to finally creep into that alpha bracket territory. And with the top being kind of kicked off, there would be more room for them to sneak in. But the biggest team, this team, I'm calling it right now. They're going to win low ink by the end of the year. Let's go with that. Clip it. By the end of the year, this team is going to win low ink. They haven't made an alpha bracket yet, but this is the headlining team of the next class of big name alpha bracket teams. Give me Sia, who won from the Splat a Little Up recently, got second place in Little Squid League 20, the big Little Squid League, and that's when they started making their names for themselves in that Little Squid League 20. But then they followed up by winning that from the Splat a Little Up. Remember that one tournament that Splat a Lot did, the last skill cap they did, where it was designed for teams that had like beta bracket results and maybe make alpha, but they can't win low ink yet. It's like, we need a tournament for that very niche category of people to win, right? Those guys need something to win because everybody needs a freaking participation trophy tournament in low ink now, I guess. They let those teams sign up for that, and then Sia, a Little Squid League team came in and said, nah, I'm going to win this tournament over all of you guys. Screw that. I'm just going to spoil the whole party. So Sia is the future, and I'm calling it right now. By the end of the year, if they play in Splatoon 3, they will be a low ink champion. These guys are on the rise, and they're turning the corner. And I love saying their name. Sia. How about some other teams? Not the next alpha bracket class, but maybe they, I don't know. We'll talk about them anyways. First off, OK Popgun. So this is OK Woomer, who decided to change their name to OK Popgun this time around. All right, fair enough. We all know that Popgun themed teams never do that good. JPEG had one team named after him. One team, and that's it. And that team made alpha bracket. I've had like 5 teams named after me, and they all do like gamma or worse. So, OK Popgun, come on now. You guys need to fix that. I can't let the one JPEG team be better than every Popgun team ever to exist. But what are they going with there? So, OK Woomer is to play off the phrase OK Boomer. Do they think I'm a boomer? Is everybody who's just like, oh, the generation above me, they're a boomer? No, like the generation above me isn't even a boomer. I'm a millennial. Come on, guys. Just because I'm 32 and older than a good chunk of you, except for some of you in chat. I'm not going to reveal your ages, but you guys are pretty old yourselves. Look, I'm not a boomer. And just because I might be super old doesn't mean I'm like an old person at all. I'm a young person at my workplace here. Come on now. Drifting Tide. Okay, I'm serious note. I am legit excited about this team, Drifting Tide. These guys have been playing League since like the first time I ever started. Before I played competitive, I'm losing my voice. I'm so excited. Before I played competitive at the tail end of 2018. We would just do League every night. And these guys were doing League, Drifting Tide, and they would always beat us. They're like a consistent 2,200 team. And they're just now finally getting into competitive Splatoon. They played in Ludi last season, and we didn't since they didn't have any results other than just league, we put them in Div. I think we put them in Div 7, if not Div 8. Whatever Div they got put into, I think it was Div 8. They did really well for that Div, and they've never had any real competitive experience. And I've even had DM conversations with them, like, you guys need to play in low ink. So they're finally playing in low ink for the first time. So I'm excited to see how good they actually do. TR Esports. If you don't know who these guys are, they were Div 5. But again, that was 10 months ago. But the last time TR Esports played in a tournament, it was the Xanadu Tournament Series. Raise your hand if you played in that tournament. And that was back in 2020. So it's been a hot minute. They had to really dust off the controllers to come back for this tournament, but we're happy to have TR Esports back. The dramatic LSL Grand Finals that we saw last weekend. Cake and Oofish are back here. Cake is the team that slipped away and won the tournament in that dramatic finish in Game 7. They're the reigning LSL champs. I'm listing them as beta potential. I think that's fair. We've seen teams win Little Squid League and then turn around the next month and make Alpha Bracket. I'm not convinced Cake is at that level yet, but riding momentum can get them into beta bracket or win a gamma bracket. But you gotta say Oofish is in the same category, right? Yeah, they barely lost in that grand finals to Cake. So you got to say Oofish has got beta potential as well, even though they've been a pretty consistently good gamma bracket team in their own right. Yeah, the Pinot Noir walls. This is basically CIA, which is a team that is old, not just in competitive sense, but in reality. These guys are old. And Pinot Noir walls, that's showing your age there. That is a reference I'm pretty sure nobody under the age of 25 is going to get. That's a type of wine going on there. And I'm not really a wine person myself. Now, to be I like to pick on these people, CIA. Because people pick on me for being old, so I get to kind of kick the can up, as they say. But they are not the oldest people playing in this tournament. I have it on good authority that there is somebody, and I'm not going to reveal who, because I don't think they're really aware the Popcast is a thing, but I have it on good authority that somebody is pushing 40 and playing in this tournament on a separate team. So we're all some spring chickens around here to some extent. I'm listing this team as beta potential. We'll give it that, because they're all strong players and they're old, right? And their moms aren't going to kick them off the game to go mow the yard or whatever tomorrow. Radical Dreamers, Sky, Is that Dr. G and Nitwit? Is this team still playing? Because that's all Sky put in a sub application. But regardless, I want to give a shout out to Nitwit anyways for playing in it, because Nitwit has an Etsy shop where she makes hats based off Splatoon 2, like this one she made for my wife. This is a hat you can get in game, the bobblehead hat, and we have an IRL version of it because Nitwit made it. So that's pretty cool. I think I commissioned that for my wife for Christmas a couple of years ago. So cool to see that Nitwit is playing in this one with Radical Dreamers. Here's a oldie, a knock to the past here. System of a Splashdown. Now raise your hand if you remember System of a Splashdown. The last time these guys played in Low Ink was August of 2021. It's been a full year since System of a Splashdown played in Low Ink, and they decided to come back into this one. Yes, that's awesome. The bucket list. I have it on good authority that the team name Bucket List is going to use Quad X Splosh the entire time. I'm pretty sure this is just the meme team. I looked at the players that played in it, and I saw some conversations on Twitter, so I am pretty convinced that Bucket List is going to just be a meme team. And if you guys lose the Quad X Plus, you might go ahead and drop yourself out of the tournament, because if I find out about it, I'm kicking you from it. So drop before we kick you. Don't lose to that. But I hope they do win one time. That'd be pretty funny. No, we're not putting it on stream. Don't even ask. There are 4 Splat-A-Lot teams signed up for this tournament. Yes, a Splat-A-Lot team won last time. Is a Splat-A-Lot team going to win 2 months in a row? No. But here's the teams that are signed up. They don't go by just the letter anymore. They have actual names based off their letter. So you got Splat-A-Lot, Blitz, Eclipse, Fried Calamari, and my personal favorite, Splat-A-Lot I, going by Splat-A-Lot Imbeciles. That's a great name. Splat-A-Lot Fried Calamari seemed to be the best remaining team. I believe they made beta bracket going 3-3 last month and decently well in that. So Splat-A-Lot F seems to be taking up the mantle as the best Splat-A-Lot team. It's still eligible for Little Squidly. No, I don't know if they're eligible for Little Squidly, but eligible for Lowing. So there you go. Next week, you give a shout out to a few teams that signed up literally last second. The Popsicles. I guess it is worth pointing out, there are a lot of teams playing in low ink for the first time ever, even though this is the last one. I think some people are just trying to get their feet wet with competitive before the Splatoon 3 comes out. So that's awesome. Initially, when we were looking at this, it was mostly like alpha and beta level teams that were signing up. But today, like this week, we had a ton of people that were signing up, and this was like they have little tournament experience or they haven't played in like a year. Like Riptide is back. I remember playing Riptide in like 2019. The team, not the LAN. Ink Faders are back. System of Splashdown, Last Ditch Effort, Team Kafifi is here. Some other teams as well. This team didn't even get 4 players on their roster. I don't know how that's going to work. But still, you had a lot of Dark Rain, Pufferfish Party. A lot of these teams just came back, so that's pretty nice. Good to see. And somebody else dropped as I was mentioning this whole thing as well. You'll love to see it. Look out for the Muppets show. The Muppets show. There you go. Hey, let's move on down to the top 10. Let's call this a day. Yes, Epic Pikachu. I did remember that. Before we get into the top 10, we'll talk about the teams that are not here, that were signed up but dropped at some point. The Yume Stars, or the Yimi Stars, as one of you called them in chat earlier, they're not here. Crimson Quake is not here, although I expected them to drop as soon as they signed up anyways. Squid Killers and Inked are not here, kind of. They combined to make Inked Killers like they did that one time, but the Squid Killers as a whole and Inked Killers as a whole are not here. But you do see some pickups of these teams kind of spread out throughout the tournament. The honorable mention teams that I got. And they started off as honorable mention, but they found their way into the top 10. And I think I only got 2 honorable mention teams here. First off, Dark Slay, a.k.a. Dark Rain. Going by Dark Slay now. They made Alpha Bracket the last time they played, and they've consistently made Alpha Bracket. Now, I put them in my top 10 before, like a year ago. The last time they were in Alpha Bracket, though, they lost in Losers Round 1, so not the most impressive Sunday for them. But they're still an honorable mention team because they got that kind of quality. If you want like a number 11 team, like an official number 11, I'm giving it to Aquatic Vanguard this time around. They got a new player, Cactus, or Cactu. I don't have an S on their IGN there, but I believe it goes by Cactus. But the Aquatic Vanguard is just such a total wild card team. They could go anywhere in this tournament. They just lack consistency. And if they can, the S is optional. If they make Alpha Bracket again and they start doing some damage in Alpha Bracket, we can put them back in the top 10 because they've gone as high. They've finished 4th place in one tournament back when they were scrapping with the Yume Stars a couple of tournaments ago. So, Aquatic Vanguard is just as good as anybody on the right kind of day. It just, when is that right kind of day going to be? Aquatic Vanguard, say goodbye to someday and make one day one this upcoming weekend. We'll get you back in the top 10. Number 10. Do you guys remember this team called Midnight Sun? It was a team I made fun of because Midnight Sun makes no sense. There's no such thing as a sun out at midnight. What is a midnight sun? They went 3-3 in June and finished around middle of the road in beta bracket. Well, they've dropped the sun part and now they're Chaos. They are now Midnight Chaos, and with the new name seems to be becoming a whole different animal this time around. In the 2 SAC tournaments that they played in, they beat Up the Ante, Blue Moon, and the Sweepy Shields. So, yeah, if you look at what they did in the from the Splat a Little Up tournament, they finished 4th in that, and that's not very impressive when you're talking about low ink top 10, even though it's impressive in its own right. But it's all coming together at the right time. What have you done for me lately? All those wins I listed off in those SAC tournaments are coming right on the heels of playing into this low ink tournament, which means they got to come in hot and under the radar because a lot of you just forgot the name of the team I was talking about anyways. So don't be surprised if Midnight Chaos makes a solid run in Alpha Bracket this month, even though they have yet to qualify for it. Look out for Midnight Chaos. I got to jump around here a little bit because I had to rewrite a lot of this stuff. But we're on to number 9. Acropora is the exact opposite of Aquatic Vanguard in the sense that they are consistent. The problem is their consistency needs to take a step up because they have gone 4-2 in Swiss 5 months in a row. 5 months in a row. The last time they went 5-1 was January. But to their credit, when they do get an Alpha Bracket, they do get some quality results. The last time they were in Alpha Bracket, they finished 9th place overall, or tied for 9th place, getting a couple of wins against Eternal Oblivion and Watercolor Junior back in June. Also, they are playing at Shine next weekend. You guys forget Shine is a thing? Acropora is going to be there. So this low ink is more of a tune-up for greater things to come. And I don't think this is their time just yet. But when you look at the teams that are here, Acropora is top 10 material. You just got to see them get 5 wins on Sunday and get into Alpha Bracket, or 5 wins on Saturday and get into Alpha Bracket cleanly, which we haven't seen them done literally since January. But they're still a strong team. Even though I don't think Blob Hydra is an actual thing. They make it work. Number 8. I was listening to the Talk Speed Up episode right before Super Jump. And one of the things they said was there is not, like, Europe doesn't play in low ink, or there's not a lot of EU teams that play in low ink. And that is just like the biggest flag you can wave that says, I don't pay attention to low ink, because there are tons of EU teams that play in low ink. There was a French team that won it earlier this year. And here is one of, not the best, but one of the strong EU teams making a representation here at number 8. Give me Good Night. Basically the team that used to go by Emptiness and Pajamas, and some of their players was on that Squirrel team that finished in 2nd place a couple of months ago. the German team that we couldn't pronounce, and it was just essentially squirrels. Good Night is the first sign of consistency as far as their name is concerned. So this is the second low ink in a row they've gone by Good Night. And they did make Alpha Bracket back in May as the third place team in their Swiss group. But Good Night is more than good enough to beat anybody this time around, and has gone players that have made deep runs into low ink before. Not a lot of recent results to look at, though, which is why I kind of got them back here at number 8. But still, Europe makes a strong representation in this top 10, and for some reason are still awake in chat. Watch out for Good Night. Number 7. My Lag Paradise seems to be stuck in the void of being too good to fall to beta bracket, but not consistent enough to do damage on Sunday like they used to be doing. Last time they showed up in low ink, they finished second in their Swiss group, only to get eliminated in losers round 1 on Sunday the next day. Reputation alone keeps them in the top 10, even though I know they've been going over a bit of a roster changeover recently. I believe TNT has left to go on to do pickups now. And the last time, I seem to recall My Lag Paradise having like 7-8 players deep, and now they only got 4, and then they added a 5th one, I believe, today. So it's a little bit of a different My Lag Paradise than what we're used to seeing. But just remember, they still have better low ink results than most teams that are left in this tournament. They did beat Freelancing Takoyaki and Super Jump as well. That's a very solid win. And always remember this. It's not your, but my Lag Paradise. Number 6. Erase from your memory, scrub it out of your head, what Up the Ante did the last time they were playing in low ink. They didn't have a full roster, or couldn't play on Sunday, I think was the issue, so they purposely threw and went Quad Squiffer, playing under the name of Squup the Squanny. I'm willing to assume this time around, though, that they're going to be using their normal, while still off meta, comps that got them second place in their Swiss group and 9th overall back in May of low ink. Also, they did win bronze bracket of SAC number 2, beating Crimson Quake and Cold Coral in the process, and beat Blue Moon in Super Jump. So yes, when they actually play the game, they are pretty doggone good at it. And in a month like this, where they can fly under the radar a bit because everybody else is stressing about this being the last tournament that they're going to play in, I expect them to improve on their 9th place results that they got back in May. Number 5. My Obsidious finally took a step back in the right direction from where they were in November of last year. They knocked off Essence in round 1 of Alpha Bracket in June and coasted to a 5th place finish overall. And it seems like their roster changes have finally landed on something they can work with and compete for a championship again. Like, again, we haven't really seen it in about a year up to this point. The question is, though, is there too much in their way this month that's going to hold them back? There's a lot of strong monsters up ahead that I have yet to mention. And admittedly, the competition is a bit tougher this time around than what they faced in June. Even though they didn't face cupcakes, there's still a lot more monsters this time around. But if they can make top 5 again this month, while the monsters are all here, that would be really impressive. And that would solidify my Obsidious as a team that is going to win low ink in the next couple of months, if not this one. Number 4. This is my least favorite part of the month, where I have to say nice things about InkSync. So let's just get it over with. They got 4th place in a low ink this year. They've been around since the dawn of man. They have experienced roster with synergy, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. The one thing of note of InkSync, though, this month is that K is playing, and K has not always played in low inks for some reason. Trell is not. And I believe this is the first time this specific combination of players, K, Gigas, Jimmy, Eevee, and Japanda, are all going to be playing together on the same roster. So we'll see how that all works out. But this team has a ton of experience and a lot of players that go into Riptide. You got Japanda that has played in a grand finals before. You got the rest of these players that have made almost the podium before. And as much as InkSync likes to be a little silly muffins, they are a really good team, especially in low ink. They're a lock to make alpha bracket, and they have experience to make a deep run on Sunday. So there you go. And I'll see you guys. In about 3 weeks or so, actually, too. Number 3. Believe it or not, this is the first time I've put my wife's team in the top 10. So before y'all start accusing me of being biased, don't worry. I've already am. I've always have been. I'm human. I'm allowed to be a little bit biased here. But regardless of the fact that my wife is on this team, that's not why they're in the top 3. It's because New Horizon as a whole is an easy choice to put in anybody's top 3 or top 5 here. Their best win coming against Triggerfish Zone Supremacy, which has taken a huge step up recently in their own right. But believe it or not, it took me a while to realize this, but it's true. This is the first time New Horizons is going to be playing in low ink, and it's also going to be the last time that they play in low ink. But this team rose from the ashes of Ocean 7, which consistently was in my top 10s as well, consistently making alpha brackets and consistently making deep runs. But it'll be with the sense of it being their last low ink and their first one at the same time, technically, be a lot of pressure on them. There's no time to get cozy or get settled in. It's win or else. But as all the other teams have dropped over the course of this week, New Horizons stock has just risen up and up and up, and I can easily see them making podium at a minimum in this tournament. Number 2. Let's get the bad news out of the way for Blue Moon first. They did play in an SAC tournament this season, and they finished dead last in it. But we got to mention that because the next tournament they played in was Super Jump, where they beat Sub Power Up, Scenaria, and Nap Time. Now, that results really shouldn't come as a surprise to any of you if you've been paying attention to this team at all. When they are in a lower bracket with nobody watching them, or all the focus is on the alpha bracket of Super Jump or something like that, these guys dominate. Remember last year they won that lowest bracket in Super Jump, and they got into another bracket this time around and beat up some really strong teams in Super Jump as well. Super Jump just seems to be their tournament, but the real Achilles heel of this team is just being on stream. For whatever reason, they are notorious for saying, we don't want to be on stream, and I can see why. Whenever they get put on stream, they don't really perform that well. I wonder if it's something to do with stage fright or something like that. I don't know, but for whatever reason, when the spotlight's under these guys, it's when they not really struggle, but they just can't find ways to get wins. Same thing with Yume Stars before. Yume Stars, I believe, was like 0-4 on stream all time in low ink. And then last month, they finally turned the corner and they started getting a lot of wins until Splat-A-Lot A just went sicko mode or whatever. The problem with that, though, is with Blue Moon being a team that is capable of making grand finals, they're going to have to win on stream. To win low ink, you have to win a minimum of 2 matches on stream. That would be 2 more than they've ever won on stream with IPL stuff. Little side note, the maximum amount of games you could win on streams technically would be 6, but you just got to win 2. They're going to make alpha bracket, though, because they're not going to be streamed at all on Saturday. we dodge at teams that we feel like are going to make alpha bracket on Saturday, so they don't have to worry about that. The only team that has ever been streamed on Saturday to win low ink that same weekend was the Sleepy Seals when we put them on against Kingmaker and they 3-0'd Kingmaker, and we're like, oh, crap, Sleepy Seals is a lot better than what we thought. We probably shouldn't have put them on stream then. But if they can overcome their stage fright or whatever is holding back, Blue Moon will win this tournament. They're that good. They just need to channel whatever energy they keep finding in Super Jump and translate it to low ink, and they'll walk out with the trophy. Number 1, and the team I feel like is going to actually win this tournament. I don't think it's up for debate. Inked Killers just has the best roster in this tournament. They do. I mean, even before they dropped, I feel like it was going to be Inked or Squid Killers that was going to be the number 1 team on my list. But now that Squid Killers dropped and they just joined up with Inked, it's just pick your poison. Their roster is so deep, and it's interesting because you can only play 4 players at a time. So how do you determine who gets to play and who sits? I don't know, but it doesn't matter who they roll out there. They're going to be the toughest team for everybody to beat. And it's not a surprise when you consider both Inked and Squid Killers would be in the top 10 on their own. Last time they joined forces, they took second place in May. However, keep this in mind. That second place run that Inked Killers got probably came as a bit of surprise to everybody, including them. An under-the-radar Cinderella run where they ultimately lost to... Who was it that they lost to? I believe it was the Delicious Nuggets. Inked has gone 6-0 in Swiss once before, and they never really reached that height again. And Squid Killers, as a team in general, has won Beta Bracket before. It has made Alpha before, but never really threatened to seriously win a tournament. But this month, they are the top dog, and they know that this is it, and they're gone regardless of what happens at the end of this tournament. So everyone's going to be gunning for them. They're going to have more pressure than what anybody else is going to be facing. So there's a lot more adversity that is affecting Inked Killers than everybody else, which is why I'm hesitant to think that they're actually going to find a way to close it out and win this tournament. But if you're just looking at people rosters on paper, there's nobody that's got a better roster than Inked Killers. They have to be your number 1 team going into this weekend. Now, all 10 teams I just mentioned, odds are none of them are going to win. Somebody random, totally random, is just going to slip through all of them. It's something else. Whether it's being on stream that gets to you, the pressure of knowing you're going to get banned gets to you, this is the last time to win something gets to you. That eats away at you. It has probably been eating away at some of these players leading up to this week. Somebody who's just sleeping nice and well tonight, going into Saturday without a care in the world, that's who's going to be winning this one. And I have no idea who that's going to be. But if you don't like where I am, or where I put you guys in this list, if I didn't mention your team at all today, guess what? You get to prove me wrong starting tomorrow. I always do an apology, when warranted, on the Monday episode of the Popcast where I recap the low ink that happened this upcoming weekend. So if you'd like to be a part of the Popcast in any way, feel free to reach out to my socials below, Twitter at Mr._Popgun, Discord Popgun, #5882, YouTube at 25Popgun, Twitch at Popgun25, Anchor.fm/Popgun. We are not done with verification. There are still some teams I need to contact that are banned from this tournament that haven't been contacted yet, but now that registration is closed, we can get out to that. So there's still a lot more work I need to do. Let's go Raid Chase. Good luck this weekend. Have fun. Watch the stream. No, shoot. Carrot's live. We got to raid Carrot. I was going to do that yesterday, Monday. Stay out of trouble. Enjoy the weekend. Get vaccinated. Wear a mask. Don't do anything stupid. Don't annoy us in help desk either. Watching you, Ink Sync.